Alright, 107, the Frog's General Chapter Introduction, Frog Repair Guidelines, Clamp Frog, Solid Base, Repair Specific Frogs Beyond Mainline, Switch Chip, the Battered Braille Ends, Reconditioned Magnesium Frogs, Frog Identification, Frog Repair Guidelines, Repairing Frogs, every effort must be made to complete the welding grinding process with the standard specification one at a time permitted, but the frog cannot be completed with the repair guard winding point with the same height within evenly supported by the weight of the train. Frog has been temporarily repaired must comply with frog that has been temporarily repaired must comply with the FRA regulations. Appropriate slow order must be provided. Clamp frogs before welding frogs out of the track. Clamp them in rigid support with to prevent warping. Solid base. Ensure all frogs and other components welded in the track are solid base and all bolts are tight. Compared to specific frog with rail-bound magnesium insert frogs or rail-bound magnesium insert frogs are all mainline branch type. Branch line other track may be required welding. Heel leg extension rail may be made of carbon rail steel with the specific frogs are repaired with a welding outline in Chapter 10, 105, rail end repairs in 1099, heel leg extension rail confirmed with a rail-bounded magnesium frog at 1 to 20 slope, maintained with the design specification. Grinding maintenance of the welding repair can be made with accommodate flat slope. For inspection maintenance practice with the Section 5 is turnouts the engineering track maintenance handbook. All repaired frogs must be furnished. Finished ground and meet FRA specifications for the wear and flange weight clearance. Rigid bolt frogs, carbon rail steel, but do not repair rigid bolt frogs by welding field with exemption of following tracks. Branch line track with a maximum authorized speed of 30 miles per hour. Is enabled with the timetable maximum subdivision speed. Siding yard tracks with industrial tracks beyond with the clearance point with the main track switch. Carbon steel rail, spring rail frogs do not repair carbon spring rail frogs by welding except the rail ends forward. Horn straps and holding down housing. See instruction 1085. Welding spring rail frog horn for repair guideline procedure. Bolt on horns housing will be replaced with broken magnesium steel insert rail frogs. Repair magnesium insert spring rail valves by welding according to requirements of 109. Only the magnesium casting carbon steel rail ends are allowed to be repaired with welding. Solid magnesium self-guard frogs are all if in all branch line yard tracks, industrial tracks may be required by welding. Check guard face with excessive wear prior to the solid magnesium self-guard frog. Figures 107A. If the guarding face requires repair, must be welded the finished guarding round before welding the joint point. Switch point must remove the strip of the guarding face. Repair when it is complete. 107 the measure of the solid magnesium self-guard frog with a 1/78 flange way straight edge 1/2 inch 3 inch face guard 3/4 and 3/8 inch maximum, and then shove the cross section with the sidewall bottom flange gauge line gauge guard flange width guard and flange width depth transverse rib. Movable point frog, electrical arc weld and repair prohibited. The remove of the point of frog with the repair combined with the maintenance grinding only, with including sliding with the remove of the metal flow with the preventing chipping crab with the jump of the frog with the flange bearing magnesium casting jump frog with the can be repaired welding rebuild. Flange bearing portion of the wear depth with the dozen seat 1 1/4 inch. For the strip of the material that must be removed below the work hand hardened metal. No time flange bearing area with a higher than the original height with the referred to Chapter 109 with repairing magnesium steel. Crossing frog with the diamonds crossing lines remove the combination magnesium steel with the carbon rail steel with the magnesium portion crossing the repair with the track with the used electrical arc welding process. See Chapter 108, 109. Due to design crossing frog maintenance grinding is required with the regular bait for the ends of the joining of the parts of the requiring sliding to prevent chipping. One-way low-speed crossing flag, diamond flag bearing portion of the one-way low-speed crossing frog is made of magnesium steel with the welding repairs necessary to build with a warm flange bearing 1/4 inch. Some of the material must be removed below with the working hardened metal. Areas of the repair must be ground cleaning level. Strip with appropriate stainless steel clean electrode can be used to seal any hairline cracks. Only 3 phases will be sufficient. Complete with the remaining repair with approved magnesium stick and wire electrode. Do not heat the magnesium casting above 500 degrees, which will lead to embrittlement thermal when cracking. At no time will the flange bearing are higher than the original height. 107 to 104 beyond mainline switch. If the frog was beyond the clearance of the mainline switch, it can be repaired welding, and if the repair does not comply with the instruction 107 to 13, bolted rigid frogs or carbon spring rail frogs. 107 to 15, chip battered rail ends, welded, chip the battered rail ends of the toe heel. Any frog, any traction according to procedure for the rail end welding in Chapter 105, welding rail ends. Reconditioned magnesium frogs, recondition and repair shop consider the new frogs. Frog identification section explains how to identify the frog's weight and size and type. Rail weight frog size stamped on the tag and attached for the heel with the frog cast from the top of the filler bracket with the mark with the not clearly visible. Determine the side of the flag as follows. Frog is followed with a tape of the measure of the 3-inch width of the curve at the top of the frog. Mark the 4-inch width of the curve at the top of the frog. Measure between the mark the number of inches. Measure the equal the frog number. So theoretical actual point, frog point, and then the length of the inches between the marks equal the frog number. Rebound magnesium frog, rail-bound magnesium frog, and insert portion of section over the frog, and then show the rigid bolt frog is made entirely of the rail steel. Shore point, long point, and rigid bolt frog. Carbon spring rail frog as movable wing rail would have been clothed against the body of the frog except for the push open the diverging movement. Do not will the running surface of the spring rail except for the building of the rail ends, and then it showed the magnesium insert spring frog similar to the carbon steel spring rail except for the point in one running side of the wing with their magnesium inserts, and it showed the magnesium spring rail frog. Solid magnesium self-guard frog has a body cast with one piece of magnesium steel raised guard cast in the body to protect the frog point passing wheels, make installation of the guard rail on opposite rail necessary. Movable point frog is equipped with a point with a movable the same man with a switch point with the frog is heavy to turn to the high-speed main track with a track pick on straight diverging side with a turnout or comparable do not arc weld movable point frog. Dual control switch on the 4-point frog. Jump frog with the frog feature for the continuous mainline rail and the flange bearing design. The diverging side of the jump frogs are generally installed with the turnouts where travel with the diverging routing. AD minimal maximum speed on the turnout side limited to 10 miles an hour. Railroad crossing frogs. Railroad crossing frogs allow two tracks with the crossover with another grade that may be constructed with the rail. Magnesium insert location rail crossover for the other each over each other. For the crossing frog, one-way low-speed crossing frog are made out of the magnesium steel combination. Magnesium carbon rail steel allows up to 79 miles an hour on the mainline track and a maximum 10 miles an hour on the flange bearing track. 108. Repairing carbon turnout crossing diamond frog.